they kind of think, oh, it's a drag queen, and then all of a sudden they see there's no padding, there's the breasts
Real
are real,
boobs.
and they're like, oh, now
Yeah.
now I don't get it, and then
So are you heading into something you'll never share publicly?
and I never thought I'd say this, but I'm just
So do you think surgeries have become a source of addiction for you?
I believe the terminology is addiction transfer, and it's where you have an addiction to either narcotics or alcohol. You stop doing that, but your body is still craving some sort of addiction because you want that dopamine hit. So it's like,
So which surgery was the most gender affirming for you? Is there one procedure that you really regret?
I woke up to this
Different
world, like a different dimension, and
It's like a Black Mirror episode.
yeah, exactly.
What surgeries were gender affirming for you, and what surgeries were like, oh, I want to look younger?
There are going to be some really hard points in your life as a transgender woman, and I've faced some hard shit, some over the last few years, really hard shit.
What do you wish more men would know about dating trans women? What advice would you have for trans women who want to transition at the age of 40 or 40 plus? Then
Can we just rewind one thing? That's still recording, isn't it? What makes you happy?
what makes me happy? I would say hello everyone and welcome to Trans Crash, the podcast where we go deep into the lives, stories and dating experiences of trans women. I'm your host Pevi, and today's episode is one you don't want to miss. Our guest today is Shai Bailey, but many of you might know her as Shyanne O'Shea. She is a transgender entertainer who has been in the industry since 1999, bringing glamour, confidence, and authenticity to everything she does. She is a huge advocate for self-expression, especially through her love of surgery. Over the past 3 years, she has undergone 26 surgical procedures. And what are they, and how have they changed her life? Well, we are answering all of that and more in today's episode. Hi Shai, welcome to Trans Crash.
Hello, gorgeous. How you doing? It's been so long.
Hi, it's so nice to see you and have you here, and I'm so excited to hear about your life and everything you've done and your dreams and your plans for the future, and yeah, I can't wait. So let's get into it.
It's just nice to actually finally sit down and talk because both of us are entertainers. We're like passing ships of a night. You know, we never get to actually stop and chat. So
No,
this is
we
lovely.
didn't. So I have a little tradition here on Trans Crash for our trans guests, and that is question: what makes you happy? So what makes you happy, Shai?
What makes me happy? What makes me happy is in the morning when I look at myself and I'm like, I like who I am now, which is really, it's something I never thought I'd say. But what really, really makes me happy is just like the loving things I have around me, like my dogs, my partner, my mum, my close friends and stuff. That's what makes me happy. It used to be very money driven, and I used to be very materialistic, but nowadays it's kind of probably because I'm so old, I'm gonna die soon. So I was like, let's get in there with the love and friendship thing. So, but yeah, that's what makes me happy, and making other people happy. Like you're smiling right now, that's making me happy. It's all good.
So you've been in the industry since 1999. How did it all start?
So I grew up in Southern Ireland, and back then it was very, very underground, the LGBT plus scene, which was just called the gay scene back then, to be fair. And I was asked in a club, if I could sing for them. And I was like, yeah, cool, no worries. And they were like, you've got to wear a dress. And I was like, oh, hell no. Not that I wouldn't do it now. But yeah, they told me how much money they'd give me. And I was like, sod it, I'll do it. Let's go for it. So I done it, and I got such a huge response. A local television company over in Ireland called RTE Television, they heard about it, wanted to do a story on me, and it just catapulted from then. So 1999, it was like crazy.
And so you were singing?
I was miming one song and then I sang another. So I sang Breakfast at Tiffany's. That was my song on stage. And I've still got the video on VHS, and I've still got my first ever picture from it as well. But yeah, that's where it all came from.
And then that time you were representing as a man, or was it as a drag queen?
I was it was my first. I didn't even know what drag was back then, and I didn't have a computer back then either. That's how old it was. So I didn't even research what drag was. I found that out later. But it was a case of I was a man in a dress. That's the way it all came across. Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy to hear this, because if you think about it, we don't have to go far. We don't have to go to the 70s. Like the late 90s, there was still no representation, right?
Especially where I was, because I grew up in a place called Shyanne, and where I done my first gig, that was in Limerick, and it was very, very, like, we had to whisper, like, where we were going in a bar so that we could all meet up, and then the bouncer would check to make sure that you were straight or gay, and he wouldn't let you in if you were straight. And it was so underground. It was crazy. It was all coded, all code words. And as much as people these days are like, oh God, that's dreadful, that's terrible, but that was ours. That was our thing, and we kind of secretly enjoyed that and kind of missed it, because it kind of felt like it was secret, but it belonged to us. And then it all changed, which is lovely that it's changed, but it's nice to hold on to the fact that I'm old and that I get to remember that.
And so what year did you start doing like the drag?
The drag. After that, it all catapulted with that TV show over in Ireland, and then the BBC found out about it from here. They flew over and done another show, and I was young. I couldn't cope with all these people seeing me on TV. I didn't like it. So I disappeared for quite a while. So I disappeared for about 12, 13 years.
Oh, wow.
So I kind of manifested what I wanted with the salon, the boyfriend, the flat, everything, and I got that. And then I found it really interesting in my head, thinking like, when I was a boy, when I dressed up, I looked like a girl. So now that I'm a man, do I now look like a woman? So I decided to do a photo shoot, done the photo shoot, put the pictures out there, and literally I started getting bars and that messaging me over here, and can you perform? Can you do this? So it all catapulted from there onwards, and it was just meant to be. I just paused my life a little bit to kind of get a bit of grounding. Yeah. But still wasn't happy. Didn't know why. Still didn't know why until like in my 40s, and then transitioned. I love it.
Before we get into your transition, I have like a question, like how has the entertainment industry changed over the years since you started?
Yeah, the industry has changed so much, especially from the trans aspect, because there weren't trans performers. Well, there were, but not as drag queens. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That kind of, I think the RuPaul thing kind of helped all of that grow, as much as I'm not a fan. Yeah. It did help it grow. And yeah, it has changed. I just feel like drag queens are expected to do so much now. Like, because of that TV show, I feel like there's so much pressure. You've got to do this. You've got to know how to slut drop. You've got to know how to do the splits. If I'd done the splits, I'd never get up again, Bevy. Like, I'd be in A&E.
High standards, right?
You up?
High standards.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like there's so much pressure to always beat the other person. Yeah. And that's not what the entertainment side's about. It's about freedom of expression of yourself and doing the best you can do, not worrying about the next one or the one before. So, but yeah, I feel like there's a lot of pressure now. But the places where I perform are kind of, they're not those type of clubs or bars. So I've stepped away from that pressure, and I love it. It's good.
Have you ever done like comedies or just always like lip syncing?
I sing, so I sing. I've only just got my singing voice back after the vocal surgery, and I'm still healing now. But I'm not very good at comedy. I kind of am, but kind of not. Like, I'd never be able to write down a sketch and get up there and do it. I'd die. But I'd kind of throw comedy out there, just in little bits, little short takes.
How has the transition been from your previous identity as a performer or a drag queen, if you want to call it like that, into your current one?
Okay, that's really interesting. I've recently looked at this because I've just had a walk-in wardrobe made at home. I'm not rich, by the way, but just saying. But I've just had it done, so I've obviously gone through all my costumes and everything, and things like, because I've got breast implants, I want to be able to show cleavage, so I won't wear that now. I won't wear that now. So all my costumes have kind of changed, and I just don't. It's weird because some of the stuff that I would wear as myself is now my performing gear as well. And I'm trying, it's really hard now to kind of like break between a performance costume to what I would wear if I went out of a nighttime. So I find that quite difficult. Sometimes people get confused, like especially like the bars that I perform in. If there's loads of heterosexual people around, they kind of think, oh, it's a drag queen, and then all of a sudden they see there's no padding, there's the breasts
Real
are real,
boobs.
and they're like, oh, now I know I don't get it, and then like I know my voice is still deepish now, but it's still rising. But before the vocal surgery, when it was really deep, they'd be like, oh no, it's definitely a man, and the confusion is crazy. So everything's still kind of changing, but I haven't admitted this to anyone. That's a question, isn't it?
So are you heading into something you'll never share publicly?
Yeah, and I never thought I'd say this, but I'm getting really bored of drag. I'm getting so bored of it, and drag has been such a huge part of my life and a huge stepping stone into my transition. But I'm just so bored of it. I got booked to do a birthday party at this private house, and they wanted drag queen, but it was big money. So when you think, just grin and bear it, put the big wig on, do whatever. I just felt like I was taking the piss out of myself, and I felt really belittled, and not by anyone. No one done it. It was how I felt inside, and I just feel like it's now time to start moving on with my life and doing something a bit more different rather than that. But yeah, that's something I've never shared publicly, is the fact that I am getting bored of it. I love the glitz and glamour. We both do. We both love it. I know you do. But the big huge wig, the hip pads, the I don't know, the caricature of myself.
It doesn't feel authentic.
It doesn't
authentic anymore.
No, not anymore. No. And the transition is really, I respect my transition more than I respect my drag persona.
Yeah.
So
it's valid.
so
100%. I can relate. Like I remember when I started transitioning and performing, and it was exactly the same case. Like I was like still I tried to separate the performer and the woman in me, because before it was a boy in drag, and then it was kind of like a trans woman in drag, and then after some surgeries as well, like I'm like, I didn't really want to be in that drag queen category, because it's just like I know there are lots of trans women who do drag or trans women who are performers, but for me it didn't feel like an alignment, and that's very similar to your case, because I feel that once you move in your life, whether it's your transition, your gender, or whether it's any transition for anyone, once you really get to a different chapter of your life, then you realize it doesn't serve me anymore. And even if it was your dream, and even if you did it for 10 years, it doesn't mean you have to do it for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah.
It's once it's done, and it's time to move on, and it's okay. That's life.
It's so nice to speak to someone else that gets that without being offended by it. So,
of course. And I'm sure, like, that's your life, and people should respect that, and that's your purpose, that's your dreams, that's your feelings. So it's all valid for
it's
sure.
Like when I DJ now, so because that's another thing I do is I DJ, but I DJ as DJ Shai. I leave the Cheyenne away, so DJ Shai is the word. And then if somebody, like there's a casino locally to me and they wanted me to sing, and I said I'll sing as Shai, but I'm not singing as the caricature of myself. So it's like I'm trying to start to get gigs out there now that represent me myself rather than my drag persona.
Right. So more like performing as me, as a woman.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like, I want to be a performer as a woman, not the drag queen.
Exactly.
So you just try to be like, more like natural, less draggy, right?
Yeah. I even thought about doing burlesque, but then the boyfriend wasn't happy, so I thought,
right.
That one. But yeah, let's not go into that one. But yeah, to do the DJing and to do the performing, even background singing while people are eating, that kind of thing, in the corner with an acoustic guitar.
Intimate.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah. I'd rather do that than get up and kind of like have a reveal dress and take off the wig and have confetti underneath it and stuff. I'm just kind of done with that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so it's lovely to say that.
I really hope it's gonna work out for you.
Yeah, well, you'll get an invite. You'll be coming to dinner while I'm singing in the background.
Okay, let's get a little bit more. So you've had 26 surgical procedures in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Why so many?
The first one was, it was a big mess up. There was a big mess. I went to Poland, had it done, nearly died from that. Like that was a bad tummy tuck. That was so bad. And then I went on TV on E4 and they followed my journey in Turkey because I wanted to get a hair transplant anyway because I only had like a few hairs on the top of my head before. And so I had that, and then I just added things on because I was like, I went to be honest, and this is another thing that I've not shared with people. I went through a very, very bad breakup with someone you actually know. But anyway,
Okay.
so I'll talk to you afterwards about it. Really bad breakup, and this sounds so bad, but it was a way of self-harm. Rather than me doing the harming, I paid someone else to do it for me. That's my honest thing. So I got so much work done to my face. I looked like an emoji for a while. It was awful. And then I had my tummy tuck corrected. I had nine procedures that time in one go. And then I started getting friendly with the surgeon, and he was like, okay, because of your social media following, and if you can get me 1 or 2 clients, I'll do your next one for free. And this is where Katie Price has got her addiction from, because when you're getting it for free and you're offered it for free because you're doing them favors and you're getting them patients, you're accepting it. Instead of getting money, you're getting surgery. And it's like, so I just kept on adding on the list. It was like I had a booklet in front of me and I was like, I'll have that one, like an Argos catalogue. Fabulous. I was just picking loads of stuff and it just added on and added on the whole time. So so that's why I ended up having so many surgical procedures. But my last, not the last one, because the last one was the vocal surgery, but the 4 before that, I had 4 breast surgeries in 1 year.
Wow.
Because they just kept on going wrong. And I'm still having so many issues now where I still need correction on my left breast.
Oh, wow.
So
sorry.
it's just ongoing. And they're like...
They look lovely though.
They're fine, but it's just the left one keeps on building up with fluid.
Oh, no.
First of all, I had them put over the muscle. And I got a thing called semestia. And
What is
that's where above the sternum, where
Right.
you've got the dip, my breast joined. So it became one breast.
Gotcha.
And then he tried to correct it again in April. That was in January. I had it done again in April. It didn't work. Then October, I had them put under the muscle. And then this one tripled in size. This one went rock solid. He rushed me over to have an emergency replacement.
Oh, wow.
So I had that done. And then since then, I've had so many problems again, but they've been done incorrectly. But then beginning of January this year, I had vocal surgery. So I had the laser on my vocal cords, and I also had my Adam's apple drilled off. They say shaved off, but actually the proper term is drilled. They drilled that motherfucker off. So that's gone. Yeah.
We love extreme phrases. So extreme. Drill.
Drill it. It makes,
Yeah.
when I say it to guys, they're like, yeah. And I love doing it to them. So, yeah.
Drilling.
And I've got it all on video as well. I get everything filmed.
So do you think surgeries have become a source of addiction for you?
A little bit. I'm already looking for the next. I'm already,
Really?
yeah. Even though I'm going through, I'm going to have corrective surgery on the breasts. I've had 4 consultations for facial feminization, for body changing. Like I can see a little bit of body fat at the lower back. I want that sucked away. And I go to the gym all the time, but I think because of my age and because I lost so much weight in the past as well, like it's just loose skin. So I've already started looking into my next bunch of surgeries. So I would say I'm addicted, and I'm, like I've said to you, like privately as well, like I'm a recovering addict, which I'm quite open about talking because I'm doing really well in my recovery.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
But I believe the terminology is addiction transfer, and it's where you have an addiction to either narcotics or alcohol. You stop doing that, but your body is still craving some sort of addiction because you want that dopamine hit. So it's like, so mine is a little bit of shopping, but I get very excited about the thought of having my face changed or my body changed in some way and stuff. So I think the addiction's kind of been moved, but it's definitely healthier than the addiction that I had before. But yeah.
Yeah. It's just more expensive.
It is,
Yeah.
but I like now I've got to pay for it because I've ditched the old surgeon. But yeah,
Right.
but I'll get there. It's fine.
Would you say you are always a little happier after every surgery because it's more gender affirming for you?
Yeah, so when I had my facelift done, I felt like when I put the makeup on, I felt like I was walking around with a filter on because everything was so smooth and it was lovely. I loved it. Um, the breasts were definitely a game changer with the gender affirming and stuff. It's just that it just changed so much. Like walking down the street, the clothes. I saved a lot of my old boy clothes, thinking, "Oh, fuck it, I'll just wear it to the gym." Everything hangs off you differently, don't they?
100%, of course.
Completely differently. I was like, I look like a sack of spuds.
Honestly, I think the hardest transition is to like the point when you really come out as a woman and you start representing yourself and living as a woman in a society. No one really talks about the amount of clothes you had to throw away and buy new ones and everything, like even shoes, jeans,
Yeah.
t-shirts, tops, everything.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
have remodeled a lot of my boy stuff. So
Yeah.
I've got a dress designer, and my suit jackets, I've had them cropped, and then the bottom of the suit jacket, I've had them turned into a skirt.
Little tweaks.
So
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? So
Nice.
I've reused a lot of stuff, even some of the shirts. I liked the fabric, so I would have them put on the inside of a jacket, and I've remodeled a lot. But gym wear does not work. Like the gap between the waist and the crotch is huge on a man.
Yeah.
So it's like it's really difficult to feel comfortable wearing it. And so recently I've just gone out and bought a whole new gym set. It was like, and my boyfriend was like, "Shai, like you've got to start wearing some better gym gear." And I was like, "All right, okay, got pressure."
Do you feel better now?
I feel better now.
Yeah.
I'm not telling him that. He's gonna see it on this now, isn't he?
Which surgery was the most gender affirming for you? Like if you had to pick one favorite surgery.
If I picked one at the moment, even though it's gone wrong, it would be the breast.
Yeah.
Because that changed so much in my life with clothing and also things like going on holiday and going to a spa. Like that's really, really important.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the voice to hit its highest, which is July. And we're now in March, so it's like it's still got that
Developing,
time.
yeah.
So I'm still waiting. Sometimes I feel like it's not changed, and then I listen back to an old video and I'm like, "Oh Christ, like I sound like a wolf." So yeah, have you had it done as
Twice.
well? Oh, you have.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, twice.
What kind of surgery did you have done?
Vocal surgery.
Was it laser or was it? Did they?
They cut it and then stitched it together.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it once, not a big difference, and then I had it another time again 6 months later.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Because if it's not high enough by July, I'm going to have it done again. And the
Yeah.
surgeon has said, he says, like, listening to me now, I'm at a good level for where I should be at. But by July, it would hit its peak. But I was like, can you just confirm with me that you will do it for free if, it's not high enough? And he goes, well, I trust my work, but I want to give you some peace of mind that I will if it comes
Yeah.
to it. But he goes, I don't think you'll need it by July.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So
Fingers
yeah.
crossed.
Bloody hope so. I'm sick of surgery. I love it, but I'm sick of it. I love
Yeah.
the sleep. I love the
Yeah.
sleep. It's fabulous.
I know. I love it too. Is there one procedure that you really regret?
I kind of regret it because it went wrong. So the first procedure I had was in Poland. I had a tummy tuck, and it was the 17th of March, 2020. So I went in. I actually don't know if the surgeon actually done it or someone else done it, but I went in, and then when I woke up, I felt like I had died because everything seemed surreal, completely surreal. And the reason being is because COVID hit. And it hit that day. So everyone was wearing masks, and I woke up to this different world, like a different dimension. And
it's like a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, exactly. And all of a sudden I was told I had to leave. Like I had only woken up about 2 or 3 hours, and I was told I had to leave on my own accord. So I had to put a rucksack on my back, still off my nut on anaesthesia, kind of liked it. And I had to call my own taxi and go back to this hotel. So I went back to this place, and I sat there in a room with a blanket over me, and I was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. The clinic had shut down completely. The doctor had gone away. There was no one to care for me whatsoever. Obviously, I had stitches right the way across. And then I started to get fever. and it was the Polish army who got us back. There was a few of us in this hotel, and it was the Polish army who got us back. And I caught MRSA not long after the surgery, and I was getting worse and worse and worse. So when I came back to the UK, all my stitches had burst open on my hip, and basically I could have died because it's such a serious thing. Like, it's a flesh-eating disease, and I could have died. And it was, the scarring that I had was dreadful. Like, it was as thick as my thumb. It was like, it looked like a heartbeat symbol going across. So yeah, so I really regret that. I didn't do my research properly into it. And to be quite honest, it's really hard to do research into a surgeon because there's so many lies out there. So people were saying, oh, go to him. He's great.
Yeah.
You know, I've been to him. No, you haven't. I found out afterwards. So yeah, so it all went wrong.
And also everyone's body is different. So, you know, it's like if it worked out for someone, it doesn't mean it has to work out for someone else, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but then, like, even regardless if COVID hit or not, you've still got a duty of care. And the fact the surgeon went away and I had nobody.
That must have been so hard.
Oh, it was awful.
Honestly.
Awful.
And especially like because aesthetic medicine or surgeries were at that time were considered as not important. There was like just hospitals for people who had COVID, and anything else went on the side, right? Like nothing else was important anymore.
Exactly. So when I came back and I had fever during COVID,
They were like, you don't have COVID, we
straight
don't care.
away.
No?
Well, they thought I did have COVID.
Oh, you did?
So they
Okay.
threw me into a COVID ward in the
Right.
hospital.
Okay.
So I'm lying there in a COVID ward with other people that are seriously ill with COVID, and I'm there and I've got
open
bandage. Oh,
body.
it's awful. Like,
Oh my God.
so yeah, just very surreal. But
Did they help you?
They helped me to a degree, but I had to dress it myself. I wasn't allowed back into the hospital, so the hole was probably about that size, and I had to pack it myself every single day and care for it and stuff because a nurse wouldn't even come to me. It was so hard. The summer of 2020 was so difficult with that.
Sounds
So
horrible.
that's my biggest regret. So, but yeah,
Thank you for sharing.
that's all right. No worries. I love it.
What surgeries were gender affirming for you, and what surgeries were like, oh, I want to look younger?
Cool. I like that question. That's a good one. So, as I said earlier, like about the whole breakup, self-harming, that kind of situation, I wanted to look younger, better, kind of like a fuck you, look what you've lost kind of situation. So it started with that, with the facelift, with my nose was very crooked because it was broken. So I had all kind of like put straight and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the hair transplant as well. That's another thing. And I just wanted that looking better. And I was really conscious about the fuck up of a tummy tuck that I had done, that I wanted that corrected. So that's where it all started. And when I started looking in the mirror, when I was healed, I started to see someone else starting to look back, but not in a negative way, like a new me, almost like a kind of like a caterpillar butterfly situation. I just started to see the reflection of somebody who I adored and wanted to be so much. So then everything after that in my head, I wasn't out still. I was very kind of like in the closet, because I was at the age where I just kind of thought that it was too late. So because transitioning later in life it's hard, like even when it comes down to body hair, like the body hair goes white, and then you've got to have electrolysis, and that's why I've got all this scarring here at the moment, because I had it done yesterday. But I was scared to come out, so I thought I'm going to make the changes behind the scenes and then come out, because I'll look better when I do. And this isn't for everyone. I just want to say this is definitely a kind of like a me thing. So then everything after that, like the BBL, the ab sculpting, and I remember saying to my surgeon, don't make me too masculine in the abs, like give me a bit of definition, but don't make, and he didn't even get it. He got it later on. He kind of said, like, Shai, do you want to talk to me a little bit about stuff? So and then things like he wanted to do a lipo on my chest before the breasts, and I was like, oh, don't make them too square, don't make them too pec looking. So and then he was like, it started to come out, like, my mom was like, oh, you're starting to look really feminine in your face. And I was like, okay, Mom, I kind of need to talk to you. So I came out to my mum first. She thought that meant bisexual. I don't know why she thought this. She's older. She didn't get it. She was like, so there's men and women on the scene now.
So you came out as a trans woman to your mum?
To my mum first.
What age?
So I was 41. Yeah. So I came up to her. She didn't get
So
it.
I'm gonna pause you for a
Yeah,
moment
yeah,
and
go
just
for it.
clarify for our listeners. So the surgeries you got until this point where you were representing as a man,
Yep.
and it was just like I want to look better, younger, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then you got to the point when you were like, I think I'm a woman, or like there's something wrong, or there's something
It was, I
not
liked what I
aligned.
was see coming back at me. I was like, oh, I can actually see someone kind of looking through the fog.
Right.
And it was like, I kind of knew anyway. I got like going back to when I was a kid. I was always in my mum's room, and she used to have hair pieces, and I used to put them on, and I was but it was all hidden, like very, very hidden. I was very scared back then, and it was a lot different in the 80s and stuff. And I don't know, there was so much, like, for example, Little Britain. I'm kind of going around the houses here a little bit, but like the Little Britain thing, the sketches, and although the whole series is funny, when he dressed up as a transgender woman and was taking the piss out of the trans, I didn't want the piss taken out of me. Like when growing up, I was very overweight, and I went through all that bullying. I didn't want to go through all that bullying again. You know, it was hard enough coming out the first time, let alone coming out the second time. And it really, really put so much pressure on me to stay in this little shell all the time. But then what I done was I surrounded myself to create a safe space. So the bars that I worked in, Tonight Josephine being one of them, very, very open to everything. So I felt safe there. I was DJing at a bar in Southend. I felt very safe there. And as
That helps.
yeah, it really does. Like surrounded, like telling your closest friends, you know, so you have that safety mechanism, so no one can touch you from the outside. Then, and then I told my mum first, told a couple of friends, and then New Year's Eve I got on the microphone. It was just about to be my DJ set, and I said, right, okay, I want to do a little speech very, very quickly before we say Happy New Year. I'm coming out as transgender. And the whole club went, rah.
That's amazing.
And I went, I don't want you coming over going, oh, if you ever need a friend, blah, blah, blah. I'm just coming out. That's it.
You know what's funny? I came out on New Year's Day as well.
Did you?
I remember having still drunk after New Year's Eve, and it was like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and I just put on Facebook, hey, Facebook, let's make it official. Call me she, her now.
Yes!
From now, yeah. And it was 2017... 2018 New Year's Day. So
wow, so around the same time. That's mad.
Same anniversary, I would say, like same date.
Yeah.
But also I want to tell you the environment when you transition, especially when you transition, when you come out as a transgender woman, being in the right environment, surrounded by open, loving, supportive people is so important. Like, as you said, you were working in these venues that were incredibly supportive of you, right? And I was the same. I was working in like a fashion studio, and we were all like, there was just makeup artists and hairstylists and models and photographers. 70-80% of the staff were LGBT.
Yeah.
So it was super easy for me. And like the second transition as well was just so much easier than the first one, because I was on a feminine spectrum so much already. So it was just like not a big shock anyway. It was just very natural, you know? So yeah, the environment is very important.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you had a nice environment in the beginning too.
Like you go through your rough points. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like there's certain people that I knew from years ago that I've recently bumped into, and they won't even talk to me because it's not them being nasty, it's because they do not know how to handle it. And that's a them problem, that's not a me problem. And I just let it go. I let that go. But yeah, and there are going to be some really hard points in your life as a transgender woman, and I've faced some hard shit. Some over the last few years, it was really hard shit. So, some of it, like I have to see a counsellor with one particular part of it, and it's just something that I kind of knew was going to happen. I got like the voice, everything. Like I've got 40 odd years as a guy, and then all of a sudden you transition and you're still living in the same town. So everyone, like I've had salons there, I've had boyfriends there.
Everyone knows you.
Everyone knows me.
It's a big change.
Yeah, everyone. I honestly believe that you're not the only one transitioning. like everyone else around you also goes through a transition with your transition. And that's them. Even my mum, like the other day, she was like, you've got expensive taste as a bloke. Shit, Shai, I'm really sorry. You know, she's 86 and she's really trying, really trying.
That's nice.
But it's like we get on so well, so well. Especially since the transition, like we've become
Closer.
so close. So, and then family wise, it's just like, there's like, I'm one of 10. But I know she's been a busy woman. That's where I get it from. No, I'm only joking. I'm joking. Oh Jesus, cut that. She's so the brother, my next brother and my next sister. I used to get on with her really well and not him. Hated him growing up. Since the transition, me and him have just bonded.
Wow.
But me and her.
Wow.
Never speak.
Interesting.
Never speak. So I think there's jealousy there. I'm going to be honest. She used to be the model. She used to do this. And I'm not saying like I'm absolutely gorgeous or anything like that, but I take a good picture. I've got social media presence and I think there's jealousy there. So yeah. But yeah, everyone transitions.
Yeah. And before we go there, I've got 2 questions for you. One of them is, what do you wish more men would know about dating trans women?
That we've got feelings, that we want to be seen with them in public. Like I get a chaser, you know, we've all been there, you know, with chasers, and it can be fun. But when they start telling you that they want to date you, they need to show that in public. They need to show public affection. They need to be proud of the person that you are, and you know, hold your hand in public, give you a kiss in public. You haven't got to be all over each other, but at the same time, it's like we've got feelings. We're not an object. We're not doing this for sexual preferences. We're doing this because this is who we are. So, and it's like just respect that. I remember a guy that I was seeing quite a while ago. He was just like, well, you're just a cross-dresser, aren't you? In an argument. And I've still got that little bit of testosterone in my body where I can hit you, mate. So it's like, I was furious with that. And it's like,
it hurts.
It does really
After
hurt.
all the work you've done.
Yeah, and hormones, of course. Like we're so much more sensitive.
Yeah, of course.
So it's like to hear something like that, or you know, to be holding someone's hand, like in the film The Greatest Showman, when he's holding her hand and then someone looks over, so he lets go. That's heartbreaking. You know, we have got feelings and that hurts, and it also stays with us for a long time and affects our next one.
Yeah.
So
it's a trauma build.
Yeah, completely.
It's literally once you go through one sort of rejection, you really develop this attachment style that is more anxious because you're always like, I'm not enough, or it's gonna happen again. Because it happens once, twice, 10 times, you know, and it scars you.
Completely. And to get rid of that is hard, because you kind of like your body builds up a defense mechanism when you start to feel it may be happening again, or it might do. So then you got trust issues, and that it's ongoing from there.
Yeah. It's a hard to date as a trans woman, isn't it?
Yeah.
One last question.
Go for it.
What advice would you have for trans women who want to transition at the age of 40 or 40 plus?
I would say, first of all, don't compare yourself to others, because you're your own unique person. And that's something I made the big mistake with. I was looking at, I don't want to be disrespectful in any way, but when you go to certain LGBT plus bars, you do get the transvestites, not transsexuals. And I didn't really know the difference, but you know, maybe that was their look. And I was like, I don't want to look like that. And it used to back me in a corner, because I was comparing myself to them. And then the other thing is comparing yourself to not a trans woman, but a trans girl who has been transitioning since their mid-teens, and they're in their early 20s, and you're like, oh my God, like they're so passable. Blah, blah. That's their journey.
That's their journey.
I never thought that I was going to look the way that I looked. I never even knew I had curly hair, because I always had it so short until I started growing it.
And I love your hair. It's really lovely.
It's wild stuff. I never thought that my look was going to be flared jeans with an orange woolen coat and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what I've transitioned myself into being. It's stuff that I just found that suited me. So, but that's my biggest bit of advice. Don't compare yourself to others. And then the other part is get rid of your body hair and stuff as soon as fucking possible, because it's so difficult.
It takes a long time.
Oh my God, I had laser everywhere. I've got no dark hair on my face, but if I was to let that grow, I have got the silverest beard ever, like it's snow white. So, and electrolysis is sore and it's long, and even though the injections they use on hair transplants to numb your head, I get that on prescription in Turkey, so I inject my face so I can't feel anything.
Good.
I get on prescription.
That's a good advice at the end.
Exactly. Just get it. Inject your face. It's fabulous. But yeah, the biggest thing is do not compare yourself to anyone else. Like, I can't compare myself to you because this is your look. This is your journey. You've obviously been transitioning longer than me. So, and also like genetics, like bone structure. Some people have a very prominent brow bone. Some people have a very prominent jawline, nose and stuff. So their journey is going to be different to the other person's journey. So, and it's like, so yeah, but it sounds really, really like, oh yeah, she's just saying it, but it's not too late. It's really, really not too late. I always say regarding anything in life, don't ever get to your 80s sitting on your doorstep thinking, I wish I had done something. Don't ever get to that point in your life. You know, you've only got one life, and taking from somebody who nearly died from that first surgery, it's an eye-opener, and just crack on with it.
100%.
Yeah, if it's wrong for you, detransition if you've got to. Do you know what I mean? But if you feel that
the
is
percentage
your
is like
journey,
5%. The chance is like 5% anyway to detransition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But maybe you're in that 5%. But if you feel that you want to transition and you feel that it's for you, it's your life.
100%.
Crack on with it.
I'm saying this in my book, 20s and Happy. One of my chapters is called Live your life so you have no regrets. And that's exactly what I'm saying, that like every single day, if there is something you want to do, whether it's your body, whether it's your career, just do what you can, and the next day again. And then just make sure you go to sleep every single day knowing you have no regrets. I think that's incredibly important for your mental health, and you will feel so much better about yourself, and you will feel like, yes, you know, maybe it didn't work out, but I've tried and I've lived my life 100%.
Yeah. And
I have no regrets. When, as you said, when you're like 80 or you look back, you're like, I've done the best I could.
You might be quite a masculine man, but you might go so far in the transition that you might go, do you know what? I'm really happy at this stage. I don't want the surgeries. I don't want to dress for him. I want to be in the middle. I want to be androgynous. I'm really happy here.
Yeah.
But that's your happy place. That's your body. That's your life. So if you only want to go half the journey, but then that journey brings you happiness, stop there. And if that makes you happy, then you'll be sitting on this couch telling her what you're bloody happy about.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Shai.
You're welcome.
You were amazing.
Can we just rewind one thing? That's still recording, isn't it? What makes you happy?
What makes me happy? I would say being with my friends, the nature, traveling, sunset, good food, candles, smells, textures.
I only wanted one.
Experiences, mostly.
Amazing.
What did you say?
I only wanted one.
I can say one. There's so many.
I'm joking.
Thank you, Shai.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for such an open and honest conversation and sharing so much from your personal life with our listeners here on Transcrash. And also, we're going to talk about Shai's life on much deeper level on Patreon. So make sure you go there right now. And I'm going to see you next Thursday. Want the gossip? Here's the gush. Every Thursday on Transcrash. See you next Thursday.
In a club, my heart just stopped. I passed out. I was gone. The ambulance was called. And like, if you're not in the right mind and you're inviting people round to your property, be fucking careful. There's such a dark world with Fab, so dark, but we'll get into that in a minute. So there are so many chasers out there. There's so many people that tell you what you want to hear in order to get in your bed or to get attention from you, to get pictures from you, to get this and to get that. I didn't feel that I deserved anything else. I thought that this was it. This was my love story as a trans woman. So this is something that's happening all over. And
Yeah, all
people don't
genders.
talk about it. And the reason they don't, Pavi, is because they feel embarrassed that it's happened to them. But don't be embarrassed. You have basically become the victim of a crime.
Yeah.
A drug world, especially in the trans world as well. Like, there's so much drugs involved. It drives me mad. Tina, G, meth. You know, meth has grown in London like it's crazy. And
How has your sex life changed living, representing yourself as a man and as a woman? Is there like a big major difference?